What if everything you thought about the disappearance of MH370 was a lie? What if governments had the power to erase a plane and its passengers from existence without a trace? What if you were on that flight, surrounded by secrets so dangerous they were worth killing for? This isn't just a mystery. It's a terrifying glimpse into the lengths the powerful will go to keep their truth hidden. You need to know what really happened and why it could happen again. Chapter 1. The night the plane vanished. It began as an ordinary night, March 8th, 2014. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, a sleek Boeing 777, prepared for takeoff from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, bound for Beijing. On board were 227 passengers and 12 crew members, each carrying dreams, hopes, and plans for tomorrow. But as the jet ascended into the night sky at 0:41 local time, no one could have imagined that MH370 was destined to become one of the greatest aviation mysteries in history. At first, the flight progressed without incident. Air traffic controllers exchanged routine communications with the cockpit as the plane climbed to cruising altitude, maintaining contact as it passed over Malaysia's coastline. By 1:19 local time, Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah calmly radioed in what would become the final, haunting words from MH370. "Good night, Malaysian 370. But by 1:21, something went catastrophically wrong. Without warning, MH370 disappeared from civilian radar screens. Its transponder went silent, leaving only faint echoes on military radars. At precisely 1:21 local time, the world lost track of a plane carrying 239 souls. As daylight broke over the South China Sea, confusion turned to alarm. Governments scrambled, search parties mobilized, and families were left clutching their phones, waiting for news that would never come. How could a modern aircraft vanish in an age of global connectivity? What sinister force had pulled MH370 from the skies? In the days that followed, fragments of information began to emerge, each more puzzling than the last. Among the most chilling revelations was the presence of 487 pounds of lithium-ion batteries in the cargo hold. These high-energy devices, notoriously unstable under certain conditions, had long been a subject of safety concern. Was it possible that these volatile materials had sparked a chain reaction, igniting a catastrophic fire deep within the aircraft? Investigators would later uncover that such a fire could have unleashed chaos on board. Lithium-ion batteries burn at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, a blaze capable of overwhelming even the sophisticated fire suppression systems of a Boeing 777. Such an inferno could have knocked out electrical systems, forced an emergency depressurization, and sent the crew scrambling to maintain control in the darkened skies. The idea wasn't without precedent. Similar incidents had occurred on cargo planes, resulting in devastating crashes. But what made MH370's case so chilling was the timeline. At the exact moment the plane went dark, oil rig worker Mike McKay reported seeing a streak of fire in the sky, a plane engulfed in flames. His testimony, dismissed at the time, would later resurface as a key piece of the puzzle. In the hours following its disappearance, MH370's flight path suggested deliberate action. The plane turned back toward Penang, its movements consistent with a desperate attempt to find a place to land. Was this the work of a heroic pilot battling overwhelming odds, or something far more sinister? As the world held its breath, one thing became clear. MH370 was no ordinary aviation tragedy. This was the beginning of a story that would shake the foundations of what we believe about modern air travel and about those who control the skies. Chapter 2. Witnesses to a Nightmare. As MH370 vanished from radar screens, the world was left in stunned silence, grasping for answers. Yet in the chaos of that fateful night, a chorus of eyewitness accounts began to emerge, accounts that, if true, painted a harrowing picture of the plane's final moments. Mike McKay, an oil rig worker stationed off the coast of Vietnam, was among the first to speak out. From his platform, he claimed to have seen something horrifying, a large aircraft streaking across the night sky, engulfed in flames. The timing was eerily precise. McKay's sighting occurred at 1721 UTC, the exact moment MH370 vanished from civilian radar. To him, it was clear this was no ordinary malfunction. It was a disaster unfolding in real time. He immediately reported what he saw, but his account was swiftly dismissed as inconclusive. Meanwhile, along the coasts of Thailand and Malaysia, more witnesses began to come forward. 8 fishermen, out at sea, recounted seeing a massive jetliner flying perilously low, its engines roaring as if in distress. One man, visibly shaken, described the plane as almost skimming the water. Another noted how it seemed to be heading westward, back toward land. The fishermen were unanimous. Something was catastrophically wrong. Onshore, residents in coastal villages reported being jolted awake by loud noises reverberating across the night sky. Some described the sound as a deep, unnatural roar, unlike anything they had ever heard. Others claimed it was accompanied by a strange vibration, as if the earth itself was groaning in protest. These reports coincided with the time MH370 was believed to be making its fateful turn back toward Penang. Despite the chilling consistency of these accounts, they were met with skepticism, if not outright dismissal. Malaysian authorities, under immense pressure to provide answers, seemed intent on downplaying the significance of these eyewitnesses. Official statements repeatedly brushed off their testimonies, citing a lack of corroborating evidence. But why? To those paying attention, the dismissal of these critical witnesses was the first sign of a cover-up. Why were voices from the ground, those closest to the event, being silenced? Mike McKay's report, for example, was ignored by investigators, even as independent researchers began to connect the dots. Fishermen's accounts were left out of the official narrative, and coastal residents were discouraged from speaking to the media. This pattern of suppression only deepened the mystery. Was the truth too dangerous to acknowledge? Did someone, somewhere, already know what had happened to MH370? As the weeks turned into months, the chorus of witnesses grew louder, but their voices remained marginalized. Their stories, though consistent and compelling, were treated as inconvenient noise. Yet for those determined to uncover the truth, these accounts offered a crucial glimpse into MH370's final moments, a fiery descent, a desperate attempt to return, and a world unwilling to confront the nightmare unfolding before its eyes. This wasn't just a mystery. It was the beginning of a battle for the truth. A battle that, for many, has yet to be won. Chapter 3. A controlled return to Penang? As investigators pieced together MH370's mysterious disappearance, a surprising detail emerged. The plane's return to Penang wasn't random chaos. It appeared to be under deliberate control. In the hours after the aircraft went dark, radar data revealed a calculated, manual turn back toward the Malaysian mainland, suggesting that someone in the cockpit was desperately trying to save the flight. This was no rogue autopilot. The flight path was precise, even purposeful, as the plane veered westward. The data indicated sharp changes in altitude, consistent with an emergency descent. This maneuver, a hallmark of aviation emergency protocols, suggested that the pilots were battling a dire situation. Experts theorized that depressurization had occurred, possibly to starve a fire of oxygen while ensuring the passengers could still breathe with a limited supply from their emergency oxygen masks. The descent was harrowing, with the aircraft dropping thousands of feet in minutes. For the passengers on board, it would have been a terrifying experience. The deafening roar of engines, the rapid loss of cabin pressure, and the gut-wrenching plunge toward Earth. And yet, the radar data showed something remarkable. The pilot, likely Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, maintained control amidst the chaos. His focus appeared to be Penang, the nearest viable airport for an emergency landing. But MH370 never made it to Penang. A critical piece of the puzzle lies in the plane's fuel tanks. MH370 was loaded with fuel for a 6-hour journey to Beijing, plus reserves. To land safely, the Boeing 777 would need to dump its excess fuel to reach the maximum landing weight permitted by aviation standards. But in this case, dumping fuel wasn't an option. With the power systems disabled, potentially by the fire in the cargo hold, the necessary mechanisms to jettison the fuel were non-functional. This created an impossible scenario for the crew. Attempting to land an overweight aircraft on Penang's runway could have been catastrophic. A crash upon landing was not just a possibility, but a likelihood, potentially igniting a devastating inferno fueled by the plane's full tanks. Faced with these technical challenges, the pilots likely considered the unthinkable, a controlled water landing. In aviation, this is a last resort, but given the circumstances, it might have been their only chance to save lives. Evidence suggests the crew may have been trying to reboot systems to regain power, possibly explaining the satellite data unit logon at 1825 UTC. The hope? To dump fuel or establish communication. The situation was dire, but the efforts were heroic. Zahari's decision to turn toward Penang instead of heading blindly into the open ocean was a calculated gamble, a move that speaks to his training and resolve. But as the minutes ticked by, the chance for a safe landing slipped further away. MH370, it seemed, was caught in a nightmare spiral, one compounded by technical failure, burning fuel, and an unfolding crisis that no training manual could fully prepare for. Whatever awaited next would seal its fate and ignite one of history's greatest aviation mysteries. Chapter 4. A U.S. connection emerges. As the search for MH370 intensified, a shadowy link to the United States began to surface, hinting at a chilling conspiracy that extended far beyond Malaysian airspace. The key lay in a remote military installation, Diego Garcia, a heavily fortified U.S. naval base in the Indian Ocean. Located within striking distance of MH370's potential flight path, Diego Garcia soon became the focal point of theories suggesting the United States knew far more about the plane's disappearance than it had revealed. The intrigue deepened with the emergence of an extraordinary claim. Philip Wood, an IBM engineer and passenger aboard MH370, allegedly managed to send a geolocated photo from Diego Garcia after the plane vanished. The image, black and seemingly taken in total darkness, came with a haunting message, would claim to be detained and in need of help. The metadata attached to the photo pointed directly to Diego Garcia. Could this photo have been a desperate attempt to signal the outside world about what had truly happened to the missing plane? Critics dismissed the photo as an elaborate hoax, but for many, it provided a tantalizing link between the U.S. military and MH370. Diego Garcia, with its advanced radar systems and strategic location, was perfectly positioned to monitor air traffic in the region. It was inconceivable, some argued, that a Boeing 777 could approach or pass near the base without triggering a response. This theory gained further traction with remarks made by Malaysia's then Minister of Defense, Hishamuddin Hussein. In a puzzling statement, he confirmed that Malaysian military radar had tracked MH370 but insisted they knew the plane was not a hostile threat. This admission raised eyebrows. How could the military determine the plane's intent without some form of communication? To skeptics, Hussein's comments suggested the existence of classified communications between the plane and ground authorities that had been deliberately withheld from the public. If MH370's crew had managed to send a distress call or establish contact with military or U.S. personnel, why was this information buried? And more crucially, what did it reveal about the plane's ultimate fate? Diego Garcia's strategic significance added fuel to the fire. The base serves as a hub for advanced surveillance and military operations, including those involving cutting-edge aerospace technology. Could MH370 have been diverted there for reasons still shrouded in secrecy? Was the U.S. government involved in silencing the plane's disappearance to protect sensitive operations or technology aboard the aircraft? What began as a tragic aviation mystery was now evolving into a geopolitical puzzle, with Diego Garcia at its heart. The U.S. connection cast a long shadow over the investigation, raising questions that remain unanswered. If MH370's journey did intersect with the base, it wasn't just a matter of chance. It was a deliberate act, one orchestrated under the veil of classified military operations. For the families of the passengers and the world at large, the possibility of such a cover-up was as chilling as the disappearance itself. What secrets lay hidden in the waters around Diego Garcia, and who was determined to keep them buried? Chapter 5. The Freescale Semiconductor Connection. Among the 239 souls aboard MH370, 20 stood out for more than just their tragic fate. They were engineers from Freescale Semiconductor, a Texas-based company deeply entwined with cutting-edge technology and the U.S. defense industry. As whispers of conspiracy grew louder, so did questions about the significance of these passengers and their work. Was MH370 targeted not for where it was going, but for who it was carrying? Freescale Semiconductor wasn't just any tech company. It was a leader in the development of next-generation microchips, a critical component in modern military systems. These chips powered everything from advanced radar systems to encrypted communications and even stealth technology. Freescale's innovations had placed it at the forefront of a global tech race and at the heart of highly classified U.S. defense projects. The engineers aboard MH370 weren't mere technicians. They were some of Freescale's brightest minds, specialists who had been working on classified and potentially revolutionary technologies. Their expertise wasn't just valuable, it was indispensable. In fact, some reports hinted that they were involved in the development of superconductive microchips, a technology with profound implications for both commercial and military applications. The stakes became even higher when it was revealed that Freescale Semiconductor had been discussed in a 2005 National Security Agency report. The company's work on superconductive chips was flagged as critical for maintaining technological dominance. For the United States, protecting this intellectual property wasn't just a matter of business, it was a matter of national security. Could MH370 have been deliberately targeted because of these engineers? The theory is chilling, but not far-fetched. In the high-stakes world of 21st century geopolitics, advanced technology is as valuable as oil and as dangerous as a loaded weapon. If these engineers held sensitive information or carried proprietary data, their disappearance could have been a calculated move to prevent that knowledge from falling into the wrong hands, or to claim it for another power. Some conspiracy theorists suggest that the engineers' work could have made them unwitting pawns in a broader game of global espionage. If MH370 was indeed redirected, could it have been part of an elaborate operation to neutralize a perceived threat or secure Freescale's technology for classified purposes? Adding to the intrigue, Freescale's parent company, Blackstone Group, had links to powerful financial and political networks. Could these connections explain why questions about the engineer's role in the disappearance were swiftly dismissed? The deeper one digs into the Freescale connection, the murkier the waters become. The passengers were more than victims of a mysterious tragedy. They were part of a larger narrative involving state secrets, cutting-edge technology, and the shadowy world of defense contracting. In the quest to unravel MH370's fate, the Freescale engineers represent a critical piece of the puzzle. Their presence on the plane wasn't mere coincidence. It was a clue, perhaps the most significant one, to the terrifying possibility that MH370's disappearance wasn't just an accident, but a deliberate act tied to the global race for technological supremacy. Chapter 6. Evidence of Military Intervention. The disappearance of MH370 after 1721 UTC remains one of the most haunting mysteries in aviation history. Yet beneath the veil of confusion lies a trail of evidence pointing toward the possibility of military intervention, specifically by the United States. With advanced radar and surveillance systems blanketing the region, how could such a massive aircraft simply vanish without a trace? The answer, some argue, may lie in the shadowy capabilities of classified U.S. military technology. The first red flag is the radar silence that enveloped MH370 after it went dark. Military radar systems in Malaysia and nearby nations detected the plane's strange maneuvers as it veered westward, yet its precise location remained shrouded in mystery. How could such sophisticated systems fail to provide a clear picture of MH370's movements? Experts speculate that advanced jamming technology, designed to mask or manipulate radar signatures, could explain the anomaly. Such capabilities align with the strategic assets housed at Diego Garcia, the U.S. military base located near the plane's potential trajectory. Diego Garcia plays a central role in this theory. Situated in the Indian Ocean, the base is a fortress of advanced surveillance and aerospace operations. If MH370 veered toward this facility, it's almost inconceivable that U.S. military personnel were unaware of its approach. Some theorists suggest that the plane may have been deliberately directed toward Diego Garcia, either as part of a contingency plan or for more nefarious reasons tied to its cargo or passengers. The Freescale semiconductor engineers aboard MH370 add another layer of intrigue. Their expertise in developing advanced microchips critical to military and aerospace applications made them potential targets of interest. If MH370 was indeed carrying sensitive intellectual property, the U.S. might have intervened to prevent that technology from falling into the wrong hands. Then there's the speculation surrounding classified technologies capable of seizing control of a commercial aircraft. In the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, significant investments were made in remote piloting systems designed to override a hijacked plane's controls. Could such a system have been activated to redirect MH370? Witness accounts of glowing orbs in the sky, allegedly captured in controversial satellite videos, fuel theories about exotic technologies like electromagnetic interference or even advanced propulsion systems. Critics argue that if the U.S. did intervene, it was likely to protect sensitive information or ensure national security. Yet the lack of transparency from both the U.S. and Malaysian governments only deepens the suspicion of a cover-up. Why were crucial radar and communication logs classified? Why did the U.S. not release satellite data from its space-based infrared system, which could have tracked the plane's thermal signature in real time? The idea of military intervention isn't just plausible, it's chilling. It suggests that the disappearance of MH370 was not merely an aviation disaster, but a deliberate act orchestrated to protect secrets too dangerous to be revealed. If true, this theory redefines MH370 not as a tragedy of errors, but as the centerpiece of a high-stakes game of global power and secrecy. Chapter 7. The Satellite Videos. Among the many eerie aspects of the MH370 mystery, none have captured the imagination or suspicion of the world like the satellite videos allegedly showing glowing orbs surrounding the doomed aircraft. These videos, debated and dissected endlessly online, are either an elaborate hoax or the smoking gun in a case of high-tech military intervention. As we peel back the layers of this enigma, the evidence grows chilling. Could these glowing orbs represent the key to understanding MH370's fate? The videos in question purport to show MH370 flying at low altitude, surrounded by 3 luminous orbs. The orbs move in a coordinated pattern, circling the aircraft with precision that seems far beyond the capabilities of any known drone or aircraft. Moments later, the plane appears to vanish, without an explosion, without debris, without a trace. It is a spectacle that has left even skeptics uneasy. Critics argue these videos are too fantastical to be real. Yet, their consistency with reported last known coordinates cannot be ignored. One of the videos is said to align closely with the area where witness Kate T reported seeing a low-flying aircraft with glowing lights. This convergence of testimony and visual evidence suggests that the videos might not be fabricated, but rather a suppressed glimpse of what truly happened to MH370. What could these glowing orbs be? Some theorists propose they represent a classified U.S. military technology, possibly a manifestation of advanced drone capabilities or energy-based systems designed for stealth interception. Others take the speculation further, linking the orbs to experimental propulsion or electromagnetic field manipulation technologies, rumored to have been developed in special access programs. If these orbs were indeed U.S.-made, they would be part of a technology so advanced it borders on science fiction. The possibility that these orbs were used to disappear the plane is particularly unsettling. One theory suggests the orbs were capable of generating an electromagnetic field so intense that it distorted the surrounding space-time fabric, effectively rendering the plane invisible. This aligns with the speculative field of frequency wave manipulation, where high-energy fields can theoretically alter physical matter's interactions with its environment. While this sounds outlandish, it is not entirely beyond the realm of experimental military research. Adding to the mystery, The US has remained conspicuously silent about the videos. If they were fakes, why not debunk them definitively? The lack of any official denial or confirmation raises an ominous question. Is the truth too dangerous to reveal? The satellite videos, whether authentic or not, have ignited a firestorm of theories about the fate of MH370. If they are real, they represent not just evidence of a technological leap, but also a chilling confirmation of deliberate intervention. These glowing orbs, circling like predatory hawks, could be the final piece of a puzzle that suggests MH370 was not just a victim of tragedy, but of technology hidden, weaponized, and terrifyingly advanced. Chapter 8: A Silent Conspiracy. In the moments after MH370 disappeared from civilian radar at 1721 UTC, the Malaysian military faced a critical decision. Their radar systems detected the rogue aircraft's erratic westward turn, yet no jets were scrambled to intercept it. For hours, MH370 flew unchallenged through monitored airspace, defying all standard protocols for an unidentified plane near sovereign borders. The question is why? The answer may point to a silent conspiracy orchestrated at the highest levels of global power. Military protocol in such situations is clear. Any aircraft deviating from its flight plan and losing communication is treated as a potential threat. Fighter jets should have been dispatched immediately to assess the situation. Yet, as MH370 meandered across Malaysian airspace, no such action was taken. Instead, Malaysian authorities later claimed that they believed the plane was not hostile. This begs the question: how could they have known that without direct communication? The key lies in a statement made by Malaysia's then Minister of Defense, Hishamuddin Hussein. In an interview, he casually mentioned that the military knew MH370 was not a threat. This seemingly innocuous comment suggests that some form of communication occurred, communication that remains classified to this day. Could the US have intervened, assuring Malaysian officials that the plane was under control? The geopolitical dynamics of the region lend credence to this theory. The US maintains a strong military presence in Southeast Asia, with the Diego Garcia base serving as a strategic hub. It is plausible that Malaysian authorities, under pressure or advisement from the US, were instructed to stand down. The idea of such coordination is not without precedent. Classified arrangements between nations often dictate actions in moments of crisis. But why would the US take such an interest in MH370? The presence of 20 Freescale semiconductor engineers aboard, carrying potentially sensitive intellectual property, adds a layer of intrigue. Was the US acting to safeguard advanced technology, ensuring it did not fall into the wrong hands? If so, the lack of transparency points to an uncomfortable truth. The lives aboard MH370 were secondary to the protection of classified information. Adding to the mystery are the radar logs and communications that remain hidden. Malaysian authorities have repeatedly refused to release the full records of their military radar, citing national security concerns. Similarly, the US has withheld satellite and surveillance data that could provide definitive answers. This veil of secrecy fuels speculation that the disappearance of MH370 involved actions that governments dare not disclose. The silence surrounding these decisions is deafening. It paints a picture of a conspiracy where the truth is buried beneath layers of red tape and classified documents. By not scrambling jets, by withholding critical data, and by sidestepping accountability, both Malaysia and the US have allowed the mystery of MH370 to spiral into the realm of dark intrigue. A conspiracy of silence doesn't just obscure the truth. It implicates those who remain silent in its cover-up. What are they hiding, and why? The answers remain tantalizingly out of reach. Chapter 9: Red Flags in the Investigation. From the moment MH370 disappeared, the investigation was marked by an unsettling dominance of the United States in shaping the narrative. Why did a nation thousands of miles away, with no direct ties to the flight, wield such influence? As theories unfolded, it became increasingly clear the US wasn't just helping, it was directing. The result? A search effort that many believe was deliberately steered off course. The primary red flag was the swift insistence on the South Indian Ocean as the crash site. This theory, based largely on Inmarsat satellite pings, suggested that the plane traveled south in a straight, silent flight until it ran out of fuel. But this explanation defied logic and evidence. For starters, it ignored the eyewitness accounts of the plane burning, flying low, and turning back toward Malaysia. It also disregarded radar data indicating an emergency descent. Why focus on the South Indian Ocean, a remote expanse with virtually no chance of survivors? The answer might lie in misdirection. By steering attention to the South Indian Ocean, investigators effectively shifted focus away from the northern corridors of MH370's potential flight path, corridors that lead towards sensitive U.S. military installations, including Diego Garcia. The crash theory allowed the narrative to center on mechanical failure or pilot suicide, conveniently sidestepping the possibility of deliberate intervention. The physical evidence that has surfaced further complicates this picture. Over the years, only a handful of debris pieces linked to MH370 have been found, primarily along the coasts of Africa and islands in the Indian Ocean. But even this debris raises more questions than answers. One of the most striking anomalies is the presence of scorch marks on some recovered fragments. Aviation experts have noted that such burn patterns could suggest exposure to intense heat, possibly consistent with the lithium-ion battery fire theory or an external energy source. However, if the plane had simply crashed into the ocean, such scorching would be unusual. This evidence doesn't fit the neat narrative of a controlled crash in the South Indian Ocean. Adding to the puzzle is the discovery of an empty fire suppression bottle from a Boeing 777, washed ashore in the Maldives. Could this bottle have come from a mid-air emergency where fire suppression systems were activated? And if so, why is there no conclusive explanation linking it to the official crash site? The stark lack of substantial debris also challenges the South Indian Ocean theory. Oceanographers have pointed out that the drift patterns necessary to explain the debris washing up on African shores don't align well with the proposed crash site. If MH370 did crash there, why hasn't more wreckage surfaced? The red flags in the investigation suggest something far more complex than a tragic accident. From the calculated control of the narrative to the perplexing physical evidence, it appears the world was guided to look in the wrong places, ask the wrong questions, and accept the wrong conclusions. But why? As the layers of this mystery unravel, one thing becomes clear. Someone is hiding something, and they've gone to extraordinary lengths to keep it buried. Chapter 10, Sixth-Generation Warfare. In the modern battlefield, wars are no longer fought solely with soldiers and guns. They are waged in shadows, leveraging cutting-edge technology, information manipulation, and psychological dominance. This is sixth-generation warfare, a chilling strategy of control over not just physical forces, but perception itself. The disappearance of MH370 may have been the perfect demonstration of this terrifying new frontier. And its target? China. Central to this theory is the group of 20 Freescale semiconductor engineers aboard the flight. Freescale wasn't just any company. It was deeply entrenched in the development of advanced technologies, including radar systems, stealth capabilities, and microchips with potential military applications. In fact, Freescale had connections to the U.S. Department of Defense, raising questions about the intellectual property aboard MH370. Could the expertise and knowledge of these engineers have been the real payload of the flight? In the realm of sixth-generation warfare, intellectual assets like these are as valuable as any weapon. If the U.S. suspected China of gaining access to sensitive Freescale technology, whether through espionage, partnerships, or outright purchase, neutralizing this threat might have been deemed a priority. The stakes were high, and MH370 may have become a pawn in a geopolitical chess match. The method of neutralization aligns eerily well with the hallmarks of sixth-generation warfare, a dramatic, high-profile event designed to send a message without direct confrontation. By making MH370 disappear in a way that defies conventional explanation, the United States could demonstrate its technological superiority while leaving its rivals bewildered and cautious. But what exactly was the message? Some theorists argue that the U.S. was showcasing its ability to dominate space and time itself, a clear warning to adversaries. The mysterious disappearance, the lack of concrete evidence, and the advanced technology suggested by the glowing orbs seen in the satellite videos all hint at capabilities far beyond traditional military prowess. This would not be the first time a nation has used such methods to assert dominance. In sixth-generation warfare, perception is reality. By controlling the narrative, introducing confusion, and leveraging advanced technologies like radar disruption and cloaking, the U.S. could maintain plausible deniability while achieving its objectives. The disappearance of MH370 was the ultimate display of invisibility, both literal and metaphorical. China, meanwhile, was left grappling with the implications. Losing 20 engineers working on sensitive technologies was not only a blow to its technological ambitions, but also a psychological attack. The disappearance sent a message. We control the battlefield, even when you can't see it. The pieces of the puzzle, Freescale Semiconductor's engineers, the plane's deviation from its course, the eerily precise radar gaps, fit into the larger narrative of sixth-generation warfare. MH370 wasn't just a tragedy. It was a statement, a chilling demonstration of power aimed at one of the world's superpowers. As we peel back the layers of this mystery, the shadow of sixth-generation warfare looms large. MH370's disappearance may have been a calculated act, designed to reshape the geopolitical landscape in ways we are only beginning to understand. Chapter 11: Secrets Worth Killing For. The mysterious disappearance of MH370 becomes even more unsettling when viewed through the lens of suppressed technological advancements, breakthroughs so transformative they could upend global power structures. Allegations that the plane carried knowledge or personnel linked to zero-point energy, free energy, and revolutionary propulsion systems suggest that MH370's fate was no accident, but a deliberate act to maintain control over secrets too dangerous to reveal. Zero-point energy, the theoretical ability to harness unlimited energy from the quantum vacuum, has long been the stuff of science fiction. Yet whispers of its reality have surfaced in military research circles and secretive defense projects. If harnessed, zero-point energy could eliminate dependence on fossil fuels, render traditional energy markets obsolete, and create a paradigm shift in global power dynamics. The implications are staggering. Limitless energy would free nations from economic and resource constraints, enabling unprecedented development and potentially uncontrollable power. For decades, scientists and engineers working on these groundbreaking technologies have claimed suppression of their findings by powerful interests. The reasons are clear. The global economy is built on scarcity and control. Free energy would dismantle monopolies, devalue entire industries, and decentralize power in ways that current rulers of the world cannot afford. This brings us back to MH370. Some theorists believe the 20 engineers on the flight may have been privy to sensitive advancements, potentially including components tied to zero-point energy devices or classified defense systems. If true, the plane's disappearance could have been an extraordinary measure to contain a potential leak of information that could destabilize the world order. Adding fuel to this fire are the alleged satellite videos showing glowing orbs around MH370, believed by some to represent advanced propulsion technology harnessing principles similar to zero-point energy. These orbs, capable of rapid acceleration and sharp maneuvers, defy conventional physics as we understand it. If these technologies exist, and if MH370 was targeted because it carried evidence of them, then the stakes surrounding this mystery are higher than anyone imagined. But why take down an entire plane? Why not simply eliminate the individuals or confiscate the cargo discreetly? The chilling answer may lie in the message such an act sends. A catastrophic disappearance on the scale of MH370 serves as a warning to others. No information is safe, no one is untouchable, and the control of revolutionary technologies is non-negotiable. In this context, MH370's passengers were collateral damage in a broader struggle to maintain the status quo. The families of those lost are left grappling with the heartbreak of a tragedy shrouded in secrecy, while the world remains oblivious to the shadow war being waged behind closed doors. The disappearance of MH370 may represent more than just a devastating loss. It could be a key chapter in humanity's fight for the future. In the battle between those who seek to free transformative knowledge and those who hoard it for control, the stakes couldn't be higher. MH370 was more than a plane, it was a battlefield. Chapter 12, The Diego Garcia Theory. As the mystery of MH370 deepens, one name emerges repeatedly in whispers and speculation: Diego Garcia. A remote atoll in the Indian Ocean, Diego Garcia is home to a heavily fortified U.S. military base, known for its strategic importance and shrouded in secrecy. Could this enigmatic island hold the answers to the greatest aviation mystery of the 21st century? Reconstructing the timeline offers tantalizing clues. After MH370 vanished from civilian radar at 1721 UTC, the plane's transponder went silent, but military radar allegedly continued tracking it. The aircraft performed a sharp westward turn before heading south, its movements deliberate, as though guided by a skilled hand. This flight path raised immediate questions. Was the plane being manually controlled? If so, where was it going and why? Diego Garcia lies within a feasible flight range of MH370's last known position. The atoll's strategic location and advanced surveillance systems make it unlikely that a plane of MH370's size could approach undetected. Yet, no official acknowledgement of such an event has ever been made. Critics point to this silence as suspicious, especially considering the base's role as a hub for U.S. military operations in the region. In the days following MH370's disappearance, reports of unusual military activity surfaced. Local fishermen and residents near Diego Garcia claimed to have seen unusual aircraft movements and heightened security measures. Some even alleged that they were warned to stay away from certain areas, a stark contrast to the base's usual operations. Adding to the intrigue was the revelation that the U.S. had the capability to monitor virtually all air traffic in the region through systems like SPIRS, the space-based infrared system. Could the plane have been directed toward Diego Garcia under orders from the highest levels of command? One of the most controversial pieces of evidence tied to this theory is the alleged geolocated photo sent by passenger Philip Wood, an IBM employee aboard MH370. According to some claims, this photo was taken from Diego Garcia and included metadata that supported its authenticity. While skeptics dismissed the image as a hoax, others saw it as a desperate cry for help, a final clue from someone who knew too much. Diego Garcia's role in this mystery fits into a larger narrative of military secrecy and control. If MH370 carried sensitive technology or personnel, diverting it to a secure facility like Diego Garcia would make strategic sense. The atoll is virtually impenetrable to civilian oversight, making it an ideal location for handling matters of national security or silencing inconvenient truths. This theory raises troubling questions. Was MH370 intercepted to protect classified information or technologies? Were the passengers collateral damage in a shadowy conflict between global superpowers? And if Diego Garcia was indeed the plane's final destination, what happened to its passengers and crew? The Diego Garcia theory forces us to confront the uncomfortable intersection of military power, secrecy, and the lengths to which governments will go to protect their interests. As pieces of this puzzle fall into place, they reveal a chilling possibility. MH370 didn't just disappear, it was made to disappear. Chapter 13, The Family's Unanswered Questions. As the years stretch on without definitive answers, the families of MH370's passengers and crew endure a torment few can imagine. Their loved ones vanished without a trace, leaving only grief, speculation, and a relentless pursuit of the truth. For these families, the official narrative raises more questions than it answers, and the secrecy surrounding the investigation fuels their anguish. Why has so much key evidence been withheld? From radar data to classified communications, crucial information remains locked behind government doors. The families are left to wonder, is this silence meant to shield them from painful truths, or is it a deliberate cover-up of something far more sinister? Theories of a fiery accident or a catastrophic crash fail to provide closure, especially as compelling evidence points to a more orchestrated disappearance. Many family members have become investigators in their own right, combing through reports, piecing together witness statements, and uncovering inconsistencies in the official accounts. Their tireless efforts reveal a disturbing pattern. Governments and organizations seem more concerned with preserving secrecy than offering transparency. Why would governments prioritize secrecy over truth? The answers, though speculative, are chilling. If MH370's disappearance involved sensitive technologies, military interventions, or geopolitical maneuvering, admitting to such actions would have far-reaching implications. Acknowledging the U.S. military's potential role in the disappearance could ignite diplomatic crises or expose clandestine programs meant to remain in the shadows. For those in power, the cost of disclosure may outweigh the moral imperative to provide answers. For the families, the question that haunts them most is this: what did their loved ones experience in their final hours? If MH370 was intercepted and diverted, were the passengers aware of what was happening? Did they witness events so extraordinary that they posed a threat to the world's carefully maintained order? Speculation runs rampant. Some theorists suggest that passengers may have seen advanced technologies in action, technologies capable of altering our understanding of reality itself. Others wonder if the crew was coerced in a changing course or if the plane was commandeered remotely. In the final moments, did fear, confusion, or a glimmer of hope prevail among those aboard? Adding to the family's torment is the stark contrast between their relentless pursuit of answers and the bureaucratic indifference they often face. Public officials express sympathy but offer little substance, while international authorities push competing narratives that muddy the waters further. Every unanswered question feels like another betrayal. The family's suffering is not just personal. It's a searing indictment of a system that values control over compassion. Their calls for accountability are met with silence, their grief compounded by a sense of injustice. But their voices refuse to be silenced. The families of MH370's passengers are not just victims. They are warriors in the fight for truth. With every press conference, every vigil, and every impassioned plea, they remind the world that those lost on MH370 were not just statistics. They were mothers, fathers, siblings, and friends. Their story deserves an ending, and their families deserve peace. Chapter 14, The Final Timeline. 1719 UTC. MH370, a Boeing 777 carrying 227 passengers and 12 crew members, flies steadily at 35,000 feet en route to Beijing. The flight seems ordinary, yet it carries a shadowy cargo: 487 pounds of lithium-ion batteries. This dangerous shipment would later become a key element in unraveling the mystery. 1721 UTC. Without warning, MH370 vanishes from radar. Its transponder stops transmitting, leaving air traffic controllers confused. Simultaneously, Mike McKay, an oil rig worker, claims to see a burning object in the sky, a detail that would haunt investigators. Emergency maneuvers begin as the pilots aim to address an apparent crisis, possibly a fire caused by the hazardous cargo. The plane begins an emergency descent, heading toward Penang Airport, one of the nearest safe landing sites. 1730 UTC. Eyewitness reports flood in from the Malaysian coastline. Fishermen describe a jet flying unusually low, and loud noises echo across villages. Yet, despite the descent, radar tracks the plane executing intricate turns, a sign of experienced manual control. These actions suggest a pilot determined to navigate the crisis. 1825 UTC. An unexpected reboot of the plane's satellite data unit is detected. This event fuels speculation that someone on board attempted to restore communications. But it also marks the beginning of the most baffling phase of the mystery. The focus shifts to the controversial satellite footage widely circulated and analyzed by independent investigator Ashton Forbes. The footage, though contested, depicts an eerie scene: 3 glowing orbs encircling the plane in a seamless, synchronized formation. The objects move with precision, displaying a speed and agility beyond any known aircraft. Their luminescent glow intensifies, casting the plane in an unearthly light. Forbes suggests these orbs are linked to advanced, possibly classified, technology, possibly developed by a major superpower. 1843 UTC. Amid mounting tension, a distress signal is allegedly intercepted by Chinese sources, describing the aircraft as disintegrating. Around the same time, yachtswoman KT, sailing in the Indian Ocean, observes a large plane in distress, a detail that corroborates the plane's location. Forbes theorizes that this moment captures the orb's critical interaction with the plane. 1844 UTC. The footage reaches its climax. The orbs emit a radiant pulse, encircling the aircraft in a triangular formation. A sudden, brilliant flash consumes the plane, and within moments, both the orbs and MH370 disappear. Forbes hypothesizes this event involves advanced frequency manipulation, technology capable of removing objects from physical spacetime. Despite an unprecedented international search effort, MH370's wreckage is never conclusively located. Scorch-marked debris later discovered thousands of miles away raises more questions than answers. Some argue the plane was destroyed midair. Others claim it was transported to a secret military site like Diego Garcia. Was MH370 the target of geopolitical maneuvering? Did its cargo or passengers hold secrets too dangerous to expose? Forbes' analysis, grounded in the controversial orb footage, suggests an unsettling truth. The disappearance may be a demonstration of power wielded by classified technologies beyond public comprehension. This timeline of MH370's final hours underscores a chilling reality. The power to make an entire plane vanish exists, but those holding such secrets remain silent. As families and investigators seek answers, MH370's fate becomes a symbol of the lengths some will go to conceal the truth. The orbs linger as an eerie testament to what might lie beyond our understanding.